My garbage person of the week, it's actually like the garbage pail kids, I'm gonna start calling them. It is like this weird instinct for people who are being grifters or just like being terrible to like, I hate to say this word, it's been banned, but I'm gonna kind of challenge it, but like simp for each other.
I need more information.
Okay, so here's a tweet from Donald Trump Jr.
Okay.
Saying, please, 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 like, I trust Joe Rogan more than I trust Anthony Fauci. Please, please, please like me. My daddy wouldn't take my text messages on January 6th. I had to call Mark Meadows. My new daddy's Joe Rogan. Also, I need that audience because I'm starting, I'm successioning my way into the head of my dad's media company someday. Please, 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 please love me. And then Glenn Greenwald. Then Joe Rogan on Assange, he exposed horrific crimes. He knows things that, or he said two of the only media figures with large platforms to passionately and repeatedly rise in defense of Julian Assange and condemn the US government persecution of him are Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan. That's just a fact, and people should. And yeah, that's a fact, and people should think about why it is and what it means. And it's like,
just think about why it is that he would say something like that he knows isn't true. Why would he do that?
He just wants to be in the garbage pail, kids. He wants to do that. It's insane because he's clickifying the entire experience of supporting Julian Assange. That's it. He wants to turn it into a click.
He wants to turn it into a click, and eventually he wants to turn it into you giving him money through Substack. That's what he wants to turn it into.
Yeah, I don't even need to go that far. Like that is something that, yes, Glenn Greenwald also says this next tweet where he's like, two multimillionaires. He's talking about Hassan and Sam Cedar. He's like, two multimillionaires who got rich marketing left-wing pablum on Google, and Bezos platforms whine that it's so hard to get rich because left politics is just too radical for billionaire support. Not only are they proof of how easy it is, but have they heard of Soros and Omidyar? It's like, dude, you The Intercept, you took billionaire money. Like he was making
like $600,000 a year at The Intercept.
Yeah, and that's
he's giving these huge bonuses for Substack and for Rumbler or whatever it is. They're giving, right-wing billionaires are giving them huge sums of money to come onto these platforms. And so he turns around in a Trump-like fashion, projects exactly the thing he's in the middle of doing onto people like Hassan and Sam Cedar. Both, look, there's a lot that I haven't seen of their content. I'm sure have regularly spoken out in support of Julian Assange, but he conveniently ignores that.
And because they want to clickify it. CLIQUE, they want to create this little click. And it's so strange. And they're the only ones who are arbiters of how often you need to speak about Julian Assange. And it's like,
to be fair, that is however much you are more.
Yeah, it's just one more. It's whenever you stop. And that's the thing is Glenn Greenwald went into this completely insane, disingenuous thing that he has now gotten into like the Joe Rogan habit of admitting you're wrong while you're being wrong and telling you how they're being wrong. Like he said he got caught saying that Hassan Piker doesn't support Julian Assange and he totally does and has and did earlier and later that same day. The criticism is this weird, like sad clique that they want to be in. Well, that they're just like, you can't be in it because I decided. And like, that's it.
Well, it needs to be exclusive because that's how they get people in. We're pure, everyone else is bad, so give us money, like us. YouTube Bible, listening to us, you can be pure as well. It's not even, it would be bad enough if he was just lying about people like Hassan. And people who like Glenn who are watching this would never admit that he would ever lie about anything, certainly not for his own, career gain. It's not even that. He has no idea what Hassan has said about Julian Assange, and he doesn't care because while you might think, hey, like a decade ago, didn't he do some journalism? Well, then I assume he's probably the best journalist in the world. He would never say anything without knowing what he's talking about. No, he would regularly make bold claims about people without doing 5 minutes of research into what their position actually is, because he doesn't care to do so. He doesn't care for any sort of personal, ethical, or journalistic reasons. And he knows his audience isn't gonna care, and he feels no journalistic responsibility to only pass accurate information on to his audience. So for all of these reasons, he doesn't care if what he says is true or not.
And yeah, so and he admitted that later in the broadcast, Hassan did support Julian Assange, and then continued as though he didn't admit that later.
Exactly. Well, he doesn't,
and that
he will continually criticize TYT for that. What have we made? 100 videos defending Julian Assange over the course of the past few years? It will never be enough because it's not about accuracy. It's about distinguishing himself and his group from others. That's it.
And Hassan made the perfect point. He just means that he's talking about the weirdness of Assange stance. And we're talking about it right now. This weird need to clickify it and say that other people aren't doing enough when they're doing this like the same. The only thing they don't get invited to your little parties that you have where you say we're bigger Assange. And it's like they wait, basically like if I go to the bathroom and stop talking about Assange, they kick the door and be like, why aren't you talking about Assange? Like I just got done doing that. It's just such a weird, non-productive, like counterproductive thing for the cause, not for them. That's the problem. And then when you call that out, they're like, oh my God. But like also Glenn Greenwald, just my little garbage last thing about Greenwald is he's like, Hassan said that, oh God, now I'm too old for Glenn Greenwald because I have like, I don't know, whatever. And Glenn Greenwald's like, oh, in my 15 years of pissing off every version of every political group, no one's ever come at me and saying like using this trope of gay men as child molesters. It's like first you cozy up to QAnon folks. You know, you go on Tucker Carlson, who also cozies up to QAnon folks, and their whole thing is everyone's a child molester. These are all gay child molester men. Like
well, they're certainly trying to appease Tucker Carlson. He may not be explicitly saying this stuff. He is definitely trying to appease those people.
But doing that,
anyway, I would avoid that stuff in your criticism of him anyway. But you make a good point. But we got to move on, Brett. We got.
But the last thing is he says like my husband is only 18 years younger than me.
This moves beyond what I care about him. He's wrong for all the substantive reasons that we point out. Anyway, 33,000 of you voted for the community garbage person of the week this week, and here are your top 5. Coming in at number 5 with 3% of the vote, Christian Walker for ranting about gas prices while wearing a really expensive hoodie and driving, apparently not really cracking into the public consciousness there. Coming in at number 4 with 15% of the vote is Nancy Pelosi for rejecting calls to ban congressional stock trades. Really, just number 4? Okay, number 3 with 22% of the vote is Mark Meadows for being a huge coward and obstructing the January 6th investigations. And I think the first time I've literally ever seen this, we have a tie for number 1 with an even 30% of the vote each. You have Rand Paul for begging for aid after blocking it to other states, and Fox hosts for being massive hypocrites in regard to the January 6th texts. Not only is it crazy out of 33,000 votes to have a tie, but how are those two things tied, people? Well, for the first time ever, we have 2 community garbage persons of the week, Rand Paul and Fox hosts. Thank you to everybody who voted. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.